Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya Stotaras of the Shishimara's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Iskan Bibli Pandacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya Stotaras of the Shishimara's Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Navinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Thanks Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Kadana Pinanda Shri Advaita Bhaktivedanta Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Gita Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Ganga Jamuna Maya Ki Tulasi Devi Maharani Ki Samaveda Bhakta Brinda Ki Harinam Sankirtana Ki Vrihat Madanga Ki All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Garanga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 11, Text 26. Asiktamargam gandhodai Ashiktamargam gandhodai Okay. Karinam madashikarai Karinam madashikarai Swaminam praptam alokya Swaminam praptam alokya Matam basutaram basutaram Ashiktam argam gandodai Karinam madashikarai Swaminam praptam alokya Matam basutaram Vaishnavis. Ashiktamargam. The streets were sprinkled. Ganda Udai, with perfume water. Karinam, of elephants. Madasikarai, with particles of perfumed liquor. Swaminam, the master or proprietor. Praptam, present. Alokya, seeing personally. Matam, very opulent. Va, either. Sutaram, highly. Eva, as if. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. During the reign of Lord Ramachandra, the streets of the capital, Ayodhya, were sprinkled with perfumed water and drops of perfumed liquor, thrown about by elephants from their trunks. When the citizens saw the Lord personally supervising the affairs of the city in such opulence, they appreciated this opulence very much. Purport. We have simply heard about the opulence of Ram Raj during the reign of Lord Ramachandra. Now, here is one example of the opulence of the Lord's kingdom. The streets of Ayodhya were not only clean, but also sprinkled with perfumed water and drops of perfumed liquor, which were distributed by elephants through their trunks. There was no need of sprinkling machines, for the elephant has a natural ability to suck water through its trunk and again throw it out in a shower. We can understand the opulence of the city from this one example. It was actually sprinkled with perfumed water. Moreover, the citizens had the opportunity to see the Lord personally supervising the affairs of the state. He was not a sleeping monarch, as we can understand from his activities in sending his brothers to see to the affairs outside the capital and punish anyone who did not obey the emperor's orders. This is called Digvijay, and I believe that was explained in the previous purport. Yeah, Prabhupada elaborated upon that in the previous purport. The citizens were all given facilities for peaceful life, and they were also qualified with appropriate attributes according to Varnashram. As we have seen from the previous chapter, Varnashram Gunanvita, the citizens were trained according to the Varnashram system. A class of men were Brahmanas, a class of men were Kshatriyas, a class were Vaishyas, and a class were Sudras. Without this scientific division, there can be no question of good citizenship. The king, being magnanimous and perfect in his duty, performed many sacrifices and treated the citizens as his sons, and the citizens, being trained in the Varnashram system, were obedient and perfectly ordered. The entire monarchy was so opulent and peaceful that the government was even able to sprinkle the street with perfumed water. What to speak of other management? Since the city was sprinkled with perfumed water, we can simply imagine how opulent it was in other respects. Why should the citizens not feel happy during the reign of Lord Ramachandra? Om Agina Timadam Dashajan Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Namilitamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamrupakaramayam Datati Swapadantikam. So, as usual, there's a number of beautiful points that Prabhupada makes here in his purport that we could talk about. I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is this being sprinkled with perfume water. Prabhupada seemed to be pretty impressed by that. If you noticed in the purport, he kind of repeated it quite a few times, how he says here, we can understand the opulence of the city from this one example. It was actually sprinkled with perfume water. It came up quite a few times in the purport. So he was impressed by that, and he makes the point here that he says, this perfume water was distributed by elephants through their trunks. There was no need of sprinkling machines. The elephant has a natural ability to suck water through its trunk and again throw it out in a shower. So he doesn't directly say it, but it also seems like Prabhupada's implying, just from the mood, that these natural arrangements are better It's okay, it's good. You can do it with a machine for sprinkling water. That's nice. But it's even better if it's by a natural arrangement, which is the elephants sucking water from wherever and sprinkling it. And in general, that's the case. Natural arrangements are better. Krishna knows what he's doing. And that's one of the beauties of the Vedic cultures. It took advantage of so many different natural arrangements. And they had a better quality of life. They had a better quality of life. You see, like now, life is so unnatural, and people are proud here in the West of their, all the different types of arrangements we've made to so-called improvements, but really the quality of life is less. People go, they get up, they're in a building, and they get up and they go to another building, and then I actually, be honest with you, I'm talking about myself. When I first came here to New Dwarka, I was kind of, at one point I was wondering what happened. I'd get up in the morning, I was in either the ashram or an apartment, and I'd come from there to the temple, and then I'd go from there to the airport. And after a while, I was wondering, where's all my energy going? What's happening, I'm active and everything, but the thing is this, the human body's not meant to just go from one building to another building to another building and sit in one chair and then another chair and another chair and just breathe the same old stale air all day. You see? It's like, you can do that. You could practically do anything with the human body, but that ain't the best utilization of it. And in other words, like when you're out, and then, anyway, the way I counted, I started just walking and just getting outside a little bit, and it changed everything. But just in general, people the lifestyle is so artificial that, it's sapping the vitality, the natural vitality of a human being. Anyway, Prabhupada seems to appreciate this, the natural arrangements, and I know myself, I could give more examples, but probably I move on. But every time I just go natural, as opposed to, like, if I'm going to exercise, I'm not going to go to some LA fitness thing down on Overland in Venice and pay money to get on some machine. For God's sake, just, walk out the door, and just go for a walk. Just, walk over to the Kenneth Hahn Park. It's so much more pleasant. It's so much more invigorating. It's just, I know, like, same thing, just like even with eating, for instance. Sometimes with even experiences, even in Krishna consciousness, what to speak of once you get outside the devotional world, cooks, they feel impotent unless they could put a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, a lot of this and a lot of that on the food. And it might be good for the taste buds, but it's not good for the health. I always feel most happy and most safe, when I can satisfy my hunger by, getting a nice piece of nice ripe organic fruit or something like that. Why? Because Krishna knows what he's doing. Krishna knows what he's doing as far as feeding us goes. Krishna knew what he was doing as far as giving us air goes. The fresh air is better than the stale air in a room that's not, moving around. Krishna knows we need sunlight, all these things. The natural arrangements are always going to be the best. They're always, there's one lecture where Prabhupada said, it was a lecture Prabhupada was giving on the teachings of Queen Kunti. Nature's way is Krishna's way. You see? So Krishna knows, and we just follow that. We're going to be happier and healthier. So I think, as I said, Prabhupada didn't explicitly say that here, but I kind of, just from reading that sentence, got that sort of a feeling that he's kind of making that point again. Nature's way is Krishna's way. Okay? So that was that point. And another point here is, it's just another point being made from the same information, is, so Prabhupada's saying here that, he was very impressed. He's saying from this one example, we can understand the opulence of Lord Ramachandra's kingdom, that, the elephants were sprinkling water, perfume water, all over the streets. And he's, once again, he mentions that there's no need for a sprinkling machine. So, so just look at let's compare governments, okay? This was the Ram Raj. But, from a Western perspective, this is something that happened hundreds and thousands of years ago, primitive civilization, as far as they would be concerned. Let's look at what's happening here in this so-called primitive civilization. Not only did they have the streets cleaned, but the streets were sprinkled not just with water, but with scented water, perfume water. It must have been beautiful. It must have been just like a wonderful experience just to walk down the nice clean street of Ayodhya early in the morning when the sun's rising or something like that. So, but the contrast is, on the contrary, what do we have today? If you wanted to, say you were a very philanthropic, humanitarian kind of person, you thought, let me do something nice for the city of Bakersfield or the city of Fresno or the city of Sacramento, and let me just forget about elephants, because that would be a no-no right away. But I'll get a sprinkling machine, and I'll drive down the main street of one of those cities, and I'll sprinkle the streets that have just been cleaned, and it'll be nice for everybody. The streets will be nice and clean. Not only would you probably wouldn't get very far. You probably if you tried to do that now in 2015 and October of 2015, you probably would get stopped, fined, possibly even arrested. Why? Because the governments now can't even get it together so that there's water. What to speak of water to sprinkle on the city streets? The governments throughout the world, pretty much, and the United States as well, is right on target with it. Can't even get it to supply water, fresh water to the people for drinking. That's not a problem yet, but we're getting there. Drinking, bathing, but it's there's not even water, and it does have something to do with the government. I'm just going to give a little information on that, since the purport does kind of talk a little bit about water indirectly, because I did a little research on that, and I think it's Krishna's arrangement. Bhrgupati Prabhu, a friend of mine here, mentioned to me, like, yeah, he likes California, but he's thinking, I don't know if I want to move here because you guys are running out of water. I said, come on now, I thought, it ain't that bad. I mean, I don't read the news. I don't go on Google. I don't watch TV. So I'm kind of uninformed in one sense. So I really don't know what's going on except for what I hear or what I see when I go out on the college campuses and stuff like that. I figure if anything serious enough is happening, I'll pick it up from other people. But so anyway, I picked it up. So I thought, well, let me check this out. So I did go on Google, and I just typed in "no water, California," and to get some information. And finally, I got this one really good, video where I got some good information. 71% of the Earth's surface is water. Okay. But only 1% of that is potable water, it's drinking water. And California, the state of California, 98% of the state is in need of water. And this is the 4th year of a record-breaking drought. The governor of the state issued some sort of an imperative back in March or April that all the cities in California should cut down their use of water by 25%. I don't know how they're trying to administer that, but anyway, there's a thing that kids play on called slip and slide. It's been banned. No more slip and slides. It's like a plastic sheet that they pour water on, and the kids jump and I used to do it when I was a kid. No more. You can't do those anymore. They're outlawed. Slip and slides are outlawed. You have to ask for water now when you go into a restaurant. Usually back in the old days, you sit down at a table and there's a glass of water there for everybody. Now you have to ask. And I was saying at one point that it's not just California; it's the entire United States is in different parts is having a problem, and there's other countries that have a serious problem, such as Iran, Brazil, and United Arab Emirates. And the prince there, the crown prince of the United Arab Emirates, was saying that for us, water is more important than oil. That's how serious the problem it is there. And 2 billion people now, according to the some United Nations, I can't remember what it was, Council of something, they said there's 2 billion people who are not getting sufficient water on the face of the earth, and they're expecting it to rise to 4.6 billion by the year 2080. And their understanding of why is, well, it's global warming. That's global warming. And there's this the little clip of the governor of California, Jerry Brown, and he made the comment, "It's damn serious." This is a damn serious problem. That's interesting language. But So the thing is this, though, that just to give, I'll give a little bit more information, then I'll give the Krishna conscious analysis of this. There's something called aquifers. Aquifers is like water sources underneath the ground. And it was this particular information source was saying that 30% of the water we use is from these underground groundwater, sources, aquifers. But one problem is once they run dry, that's it. There's no way of replenishing. It's like tapping into water that's been stored for a long, long, long time, and we're just using that and very quickly getting to the point of using it up. And it made the point that a tremendous amount of groundwater is contaminated by pesticides, by the agricultural industries when they fly the planes over and put all sorts of pesticides over the crops. That gets into the groundwater and contaminates it, makes it no longer usable for drinking water or human purposes. And something called fracking. And fracking is a process where they use huge quantities of water, underground water, to blast out gas and oil. You see? So huge and it specifically mentioned huge quantities of water, underground water, this water that could be used for human purposes, used for that thing. So then the video is presenting solutions, what to do. Well, conserve water, okay. It mentioned desalinization, but it said that, well, that's a problem because it costs twice as much and it could hurt marine life. And then there's this little film clip, part of the video where Bill Gates was on there, and he was saying, he issued a challenge to all engineers to come up with some sort of a device by which human waste, waste products, could be transformed so that drinking, clean water could be excreted from them. And then, of course, recycling water. But when I was thinking about those, I was thinking, once again, it's just showing how inadequate the governments are because, okay, fracking. It mentioned about fracking using huge quantities of underground water to blast out gas. Stop them. What's the use of a government if it doesn't just take control? Is what's going to happen that all of a sudden we're just going to keep using this water, and one day you're going to turn on your tap and there's going to be no water, and then you're going to turn on the TV and they're just going to go, well, sorry, the water's gone. We don't need you guys to do that. We don't need you guys to tell us that. The whole purpose of the government is you take control. You're in control. So do something to deal with the situation. You see, but they don't. That's the problem. That's the problem with the Kali Yuga government. Because why? Because they're not actually, as as Prabhupada says throughout the pages of the Bhagavatam and throughout his lectures, their top priority is not the welfare of the people in general, unfortunately, which is exactly what a government's supposed to be, and that's exactly what Lord Ramachandra's government was. That's what's being described in today's purport. This was a government that was concerned, Lord Ramachandra concerned with the welfare of the people, the immediate material welfare of the people, and of course the ultimate spiritual welfare of the people. And therefore the citizens was like, they're loving it. Ram Raj, he says, Prabhupada says, we've heard about the opulence of Ram Raj. People were in ecstasy being part of the government. And it mentions in the purport here that everybody was peacefully executing their occupational duties within the Varnashram system. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras. Why? Because they knew we have a monarch here who's got his head together. He's Krishna. Well, in that case was Lord Ramachandra, but they were happy to perform the sacrifices involved in being part of whatever their ashram was or their varna was, because they could understand it's not one way. It's not like we're being exploited. It's like it's reciprocal. We're sacrificing to perform these occupational duties, and there's reciprocation from the government. We're being looked after. And they were, but not the case now. Anyway, getting back to this point, so why doesn't the government do something? Why don't they just stop the fracking and in that way save all that huge quantity of water? And it also mentions about the desalinization was twice as expensive as bringing in water from other places, or didn't say where. What are they talking about? But so what? Twice as expensive. So spend the money instead of spending like 50% of the national budget is spent on defense. It's like, we're living in a madhouse, basically. You're living in a madhouse. Countries all over the world are spending 50% or more of their national budget on defense, which means weapons, military, right? Just to either fight each other or to protect themselves from being attacked by others who want to fight them. Meantime, the water's running out. So, just turn the clock forward 50 years or 100 years, you're going to have a lot of countries with a lot of weapons, and everybody's going to die because there's no water. Ridiculous, but somehow or another, we're just so much in the grips of Maya, or they are, so that they can't understand. Well, let's stop. Is it possible that we could stop, not spend so much money on weapons and defense, and let's use that money and desalinize the water so we can have some water to drink, to bathe, and to grow our crops with? But somehow they can't get it to get it to do that. And this other reason was it could hurt the marine life. Since when are they worried about hurting the marine life? It's just so ridiculous. There's boats that go out there that just throw out these huge nets on either side of the boat, and they just troll in any living thing that passes through them. They're not worried about them. Since when are they great humanitarians or not humanitarians, aquatarians or whatever you call it, worried about marine life? Anyway, but it goes. There's a philosophical point that could be understood from this, and which is this: that the real, they don't really know. They don't know the actual reason why this is all happening. Why this. Why there is this global warming, and consequently droughts throughout a lot of parts of the world. We do, okay? And the reason is because they're demons. Human civilization is today is demoniac, and Krishna is punishing the demons. And Prabhupada said as much in a lecture, and I'll just read an excerpt from a lecture where Prabhupada, gives us the clear understanding of why this is all happening. And why, unless something changes, all these stopgap measures, even if they could get it together, which apparently they can't, to desalinize the water or stop the fracking, that still wouldn't do it. Why? Because they're engaged in sinful activity, because they're not performing jagya. You see? That's the real root cause of the problem, that they're not devotees of Krishna. They're acting sinfully, they're acting in a way that they're not supposed to be acting, and they're being punished by Mother Nature, which is under the control of Krishna. You see? So even if, as I said, even if they did get it together to stop the fracking and desalinize the water, but they still went on with their sinful activities of illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, Mother Nature would work out another way to punish them, because they're meant to be punished. Anyway, I'll just read you this with Prabhupada, an excerpt from a lecture where Prabhupada basically says this much better than I just attempted to say it, and very clearly. It says, just like we are getting water, if somebody says, oh, what is that? It is coming from the water tank. So where is the question of paying taxes or rent? Prabhupada says, no. The water tank is being filled up by the municipality. If you don't pay tax, it will be cut off. Similarly, don't think that the water is coming as your father's property. No, you are becoming debtor. You are becoming debtor. Therefore, if you don't pay debts, if you don't perform sacrifices, is making the analogy, then there will be scarcity of water. And one day it will come, there will be no water. That you expect, because you are not paying any tax. You are thinking, water is coming, my father's property. No. Your father's property, that's all right, but you are not your father's son at the present moment. You are Maya's son. You don't care for your father. Therefore, Father said, Maya Jakshena Pakrite Suyate Sacharachanam. Krishna says, the Supreme Father, He's the Supreme Father. You don't care for Father. The nature is working under the direction of the Supreme Father. That's a fact. So if you do not care for your Father, then the result will be nature will reduce supply. This is exactly what's happening. Human civilization, human population, they don't care for the Father. So nature is working, as Prabhupada says here, under, Krishna's direction. Nature is reducing supply. Reduce supply, he says. Nature will not allow the demons to flourish. That's it. Yeah, so they might be mystified and scratching their heads. What's the reason? Why is this happening? Or whatever. We're not We're totally clear. We're just totally clear. Yep, here it is. Prabhupada just said it. Nature will not allow the demons to flourish. That's exactly the reason why this whole problem and all the other problems are happening, because nature's not allowing the demons to flourish. Prabhupada goes on, that is not allowed. The demons are always liable to be punished. Some big demons like Ravana, Hiranyakasipu, the Lord personally comes to punish them. Otherwise, the ordinary demons, they are punished by the laws of nature. So that's contemporary human society, ordinary demons. So they're just going to get punished by the laws of nature. Krishna does not require to come to punish these petty demons. But when there is big demons like Ravana, like Hiranyakasipu, like Kamsa, then Krishna or Lord Ramachandra, they come to punish them. So as long as people continue to be demons, they're going to get punished, right? So now we know the cause of the problem, right? People aren't being devotees. So now what's the solution? The solution is they have to become devotees, and that's where we come into the picture. We have to try to help them become devotees. As mentioned in the previous purport, yesterday's purport, it says here that Lord Ramachandra showed his favor to his brothers by ordering them to go out. Many of the Lord's devotees residing in Vrindavan have taken the vow not to leave Vrindavan to preach Krishna consciousness. But the Lord says that Krishna consciousness should be spread all over the world, in every village and every town. That is the open order of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A pure devotee therefore must execute the order of the Lord, and must not gratify his senses by remaining stagnant in one place, falsely proud, thinking that because he does not leave Vrindavan or New Dwarka or whatever the case may be, but chance in a solitary place, he's become a great devotee. A devotee must carry out the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yade deke tada kada Krishna Badesh. Every devotee therefore should spread Krishna consciousness by preaching, asking whomever he meets to accept the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says, Sarvadamam Parityajam Mami Kam Saranambraja. And it goes on. Everyone, yeah. So, yeah, that's where we come into the picture. Everybody's, supposed to try to do that. And so we've heard this before, of course. And it's always good to hear it again. But I just wanted to say something this morning, and I got 5 minutes so I could do it, to try to help everybody do this. I don't think, does anybody that disagree that this is what we're supposed to be doing? Prabhupada clearly says it here. He says, many devotees have taken the vow to reside, never to leave Vrindavan and preach, to preach Krishna, not to leave Vrindavan to preach Krishna consciousness, but the Lord says that this should be spread all over the world. Anyway, he's basically saying it's like, all devotees should do this, okay? But it's a challenge. It's hard. Preaching is challenging. It's not a cakewalk. It takes some resolve, some determination to get out there and do it. But so I want to offer a suggestion how it can be done and to make it easier for everybody. And this is something I'm saying from personal experience over the last few months, okay? I've been going out with Jai Kush, Bhakta Jai Kush on Sankirtan, and somehow or another, mostly I think it's due to Vijay's association, we started working from behind a table about 3 months ago. And at first we tried it and it didn't work, and then we abandoned it and we went back to just kind of going around and approaching people one-on-one. Then somehow or another we got back into it, and maybe with a better start, we did it a little bit more, we did something right the next time. Anyway, somehow or another we start, and we've been getting better and better results. And I'll show you what we do. Very simple thing here. Da-da-da-da. This is exactly what we do, okay? We go into a college campus, and we plunk down a table, in a good spot, and then we just take this sign, just like this. Ratnabhushan made us this sign from some board that Mahanta had down in the Prashana room, which is still there. And we just plunk the sign over the corner of the table, and we stand there. He sits there. And people come over. Students come over. And they're the best ones, It's just like students come over, and this is really good because, it's not a lie. We do have a book there. in case they do want a free book, sometimes they immediately come over and they say, "These free?" And we say, well, "This one's free, and these ones we ask for a donation." So that, right off the bat, there's no confusion about the whole thing. And and some students come over, and some students are. It's easy to get them to come over the temple. You just I have the temple invitation card there, and I just flap it. I just stand there and go, "Hey, meditation, meditation." It's like, "Here, kitty, kitty," something like that. And as soon as they look at you, you just go "Here," and they take the card, and I immediately say, "So what's your major?" And whatever they say, I say, "You qualify. Come on over." Whatever they say, they're qualified. And then you just bring them over and you hand them a book. And anyway, it's so much easier. And the table gives you immediate. You can sense it. You can sense it because I've been doing this other method for over 40 years. Going like approaching people, just kind of, boom, just hitting. And I could see that people are more comfortable coming over to a table. They feel like you're legit. They feel like, oh, these guys must belong here because, look, they're at a table. I mean, for God's sake, they got a sign, they're at a table. They must be okay to be here. But when you just, approach somebody, you're a total stranger, they're a total stranger, it's like, it's not something that happens. In this country, that's not how people do business. They don't conduct business like that. Maybe in other countries there's a bit more of that, I don't know. But here in America, people are used to, if they want something, they're used to going into a store or something, a shop to buy it. So it's kind of like there's a bit of awkwardness always there. Some people might even be scared, what's going on here, even though it's the middle of the day, some people, they're frightened, it's unusual. So it really minimizes that. And they just come right up, a lot of them, and they go, "Hey, what's happening? What's it all about?" And you just do your thing. So everybody could try this, is what I'm getting at. It's a way that you can do book distribution that's less intimidating for you, easier, and hopefully, if you try the other kind of book distribution and you weren't comfortable with it for some reason or another, and I can understand that, maybe this might work for you. This could work for you. We haven't experimented a lot in places other than schools. Pretty much we've just been doing it at schools, but I think it's got potential. We haven't done it yet. I know that even on the promenade, you could do Santa Monica Promenade. Apparently, you could have a table if it has wheels. So you could, that's a possibility for the Harinam parties. You could just have a table that has wheels, and you could have the sign on it. And this helps a lot too, by the way, because free with that brings people over. And then we're not lying to them, as I said, because we do have a book there that we can give them for free. So I guess I'll stop there. 8:15. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
When you're sitting there, it's like you're helpless. Are they going to come over to you? Are they just going to walk by? And so it really forces you. And I have so many people. I don't want to brag, but people come up to me saying, "Wow, you look so peaceful. This stuff must really work." And I'm full of anxiety because I'm afraid that I'm not going to distribute any books that day. And then also what's really good about it is people who come, they come repeatedly, because they know where you are and they're looking for you, and they say, "Are you going to be on campus next week?" And so they want to make sure there's a station where they can come back and get another book. When people come back and say, "Oh, I got that book, which one should I get this time?" Or they come and even I had one boy, I remember he would come and stand in front of the table and distribute the books himself, and I'd just be like, "Okay, let him do it," because he loved his book so much. So it's a really wonderful thing, the book table. I really think it helped my meditation. It helped me to be more peaceful, personally.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Touch a notebook. I'm presenting this, I'm hoping other devotees will try it. You know, there's that expression, many hands make light work, some Chinese expression. So, yeah, you know, if you kind of hear this and you feel like, maybe I could do that type of Sankirtan, let me know. Let's try it, because, you know, even if you go out and just do it in a small way and you like it, and anyway, we've got a lot of devotees in this community, and if everybody does a little bit, then that adds up to a lot. Yeah, Bruce. Sorry.
Yeah, I've been doing table for like 2 years already, but without the sign, and definitely it's not the same. And you probably done that too, without the sign.
Without the sign.
It doesn't work the same.
Sign works better.
Exactly. So I was just skeptical a little bit about the top line, free, and I was thinking, am I deceiving? So I'm reconsidering, given the point that you can have some small books and you say that, and then that will be, but I wasn't comfortable for that.
Yeah, I mean, Perfectioner yogas
so,
are,
okay,
you know.
so it works.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Question now, the highlight of Srila Prabhupada's purport there, it's awesome, it's beautiful. And then you make the opposite, you know, of what we're going through now in modern society. And then you also mentioned that at one point, if the authorities or the government says, okay, sorry, there's no more water, and then what? And you were mentioning, like, what is that? What are you saying?
What's the use of that kind of government?
So
government.
now I was thinking in a question that similarly, we have the philosophy, we got the best philosophy. If someone will say, I hear you guys, it's really good. Now, if you will have 1,000 people coming right now to join, what would you do? Or 10,000 people joining? How will you accommodate them to? Are we ready to accommodate?
Well, I mean, on some level, no. I mean, we obviously we don't have accommodation for them. You know, but we could tell them, we can instruct them. So, I mean, we could, you know, accommodate them in that sense. We could give them good instruction. We could tell them, chant Hare Krishna, follow the four good principles. I mean, we couldn't give them a place to live and, you know, food to eat necessarily, etc., like that. But we could instruct them. So at least we're prepared that much.
But could you say that if we will have options, like, you know, Prabhupada said 50% of my work was done, but there's other 50 still to be done.
Yeah, we could do a lot better. I mean, it'd be better if we did have, you know, say, well, yeah, okay, chant Hare Krishna, follow the four good principles. Are you ready to do that full on? Okay, then you can also go here and, you know, send them to this farm or that farm. We're not that organized yet, but we could instruct them. So that's something. And that's pretty significant. But yeah, there's a lot of room, a lot of work. We're a work in progress, you know. We're a work in progress, which is, you know, but still, we've done. Anyway, we've made a lot of progress, and there's still a lot more to be done. Yeah, Mata, in the back.
Thank you for a very nice class. I heard your comment that book distribution is like challenging, but actually it's very blissful. It's very, very, like, I can't imagine any other service which I've done and experienced such a bliss. Like my Gurudev, His Grace Vaisheshik Das, says book distribution is actually fun and easy, and it's true. It's challenging if you go to the areas where people are kind of very hard. When I go to Spanish areas, for example, it's very blissful. Every person take a book, and that really makes you blissful, because you see all of these people are taking books, and this is amazing. This is amazing. I want to go out more. And the biggest challenge actually is just stepping first steps and going out. You know, like getting ready and going out. I'm going. But otherwise, it's absolutely blissful. I suggest to every person.
We're glad to hear you're having such a positive experience. Just to wrap it up, just so if somebody wants to try this, once again, practically speaking, you might be able to twist Ratna Bhushan's arm and get him to make a sign for you, because the material is right down there in the prasadam room. It belongs to Mahanta. It's been sitting there for months. It's just this board there, and he did this one for us in a matter of hours, actually. He has all the equipment. You can get a table at Target, $27. It's a table. It's about, 2.5 foot by 4 foot. It folds down the middle. It's lightweight. You can carry it. And you can pick up a cart for $17 at this place, Office Supply Place, just off of Jefferson and Sawtell. You're all set and ready to go. You got your table, you got your little thing to pull it with, and you got your sign here, and you can try it. Yes, Vas Prabhu.
I would appreciate if they would go through the temple before they do that. Not
Okay.
that there's, free for all, and whoever you are, whatever you are, whatever you do, if they would at least come to the temple and talk to us first, where they're going, why they're doing, get the books, things of that nature.
Okay, so if you're hearing this on the internet, or if you're out here or whatever, just contact us first, and we'll try to help you. Yes, Prabhu, last comment or question?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Prabhu, when you go to college with this setting, I'm guessing that you wear casual clothes. If that's the case, if somebody asks you who are you and why do you do it, how do you introduce yourself? Introduce yourself as monks, or what?
You just say, no, we're a non-profit religious organization, and we do this on all the campuses because, First Amendment right, free speech and religion, so we just put ourselves here in the free speech area, and if they say, well, this is not the free speech area, you got to first go check in, and you got to go, oh, sorry, okay, where do we go? And there's that expression, it's easier to get forgiveness than it is to get permission. So Vijay kind of works along that idea, and he just goes and sets up, and usually it's no problem. And if there's a problem, they can just come out and tell you, well, you can't be doing this here, or you can't do it all, whatever. Then you deal with it. And obviously, you're just cooperative from that point onwards. But that's how we've been doing it, and hopefully that it seems to be working. Some places you do have to kind of check in first, and you even have to pay money. There's one school we go to, they want, even just to set up in the free speech area, we have to pay them $25 each time. But it's well worth it. It's that much more effective that it's worth, even if they pay a nominal amount of money like that, just to get the permission to do it. Okay, so thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada.